at more than 74,000 acres. That's more than 115 square miles. This is one of the structures that was burned. We now know that over 58 homes were burned in that fire, 60 structures. This is a building that was used as a church, and I'm actually here with an officer of Light on the Hill Resource Center, right, Jesse?
Yes.
So what exactly is this building, and how long have you been here?
I've been here at this place for probably about 14 years, and it years ago was was Little Church in the Hills.
Mm-hmm.
It was built here as a school. The church was down the hill, and this was built as a school in the 80s. And then by and by, the church moved up here and used the facility. And then some years ago, myself and some others helped to change it over to Light on the Hill Resource Center.
Mm-hmm.
And there were just 3 officers, myself and 2 other men. And the church used the facility for a lot of its missionary work.
For you to, be involved for 14 years here using this building and to come up here this morning and see this, what is your reaction?
I actually was up here yesterday, so
Okay.
I had already seen it once. But it's a little bit weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take some adjusting,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
I mean, it's devastating to me to look around and see, even the kitchen over there where you can see the refrigerator still standing up and, seats just tipped over. I mean, where do you go from here, something like this? Is there insurance to cover this? What are you guys going to do?
When we converted it over to the Light on the Hill Resource Center, there's a transition period from being Little Church in the Hills to the church unincorporating, because the church is people, God's people, not a corporation. And at that time, we were really seeking God a lot, and came to a point where we were ready to, in order to disband the corporation, we were ready to give away the assets and leave this facility. And we devoted it to God that way, and then He led us towards the setting up of Light on the Hill Resource Center. Mm-hmm. So those years ago, we had already committed it to God, that He could have it and take it. And so now He's taken it, and that's His prerogative. And
so, yeah, exactly. I was going to ask you, being a man of God, where when people look at something like this, and they ask, why does God do things like this, believers in God? How do you cope with that? What is your answer to that?
As Job said, shall we accept good from the hand of the Lord and not evil? And if calamity comes on a city, has not God brought it? Consider that He brings both calamity and good. So as God's people, we receive that. And also, He does things like this for discipline and also for His purposes. Mm-hmm. In the early days of the church, after Christ had risen to heaven, His followers were clustered tightly in Jerusalem. And under persecution, severe persecution broke out, and it scattered the church, and that's what spread the gospel west into Europe and all over the world. So God uses those types of things for His will. What His plan is with this and why He allowed this to take place, we don't know yet. Mm-hmm. I was the first one of our congregation to see it, mm-hmm. And that was yesterday morning, so we have some considering and praying to do.
Of course. Thank you so much, Jesse, for taking the time to speak with us this morning. I know this is really a devastating thing to see, but trying to have a positive outlook on it and kind of think that it's part of God's plan somehow is a positive way to look at devastating things like this. We're going to be up here, guys, for the rest of the morning in this area near Mariposa, showing you what this fire has done to this community.